Welcome to Wise Guys.
Today's topic, general political strategy with Neil Gorsuch.
In the current news cycle, we've learned that the Democrats found that they have enough votes to filibuster Neil Gorsuch's nomination to the Supreme Court.
Judge Neil Gorsuch, as you all might remember, is a rather movement conservative who is President Trump's number one pick to be the Supreme Court justice to replace the currently empty bench seat. He's been pretty critically acclaimed.
This would be Scalia's seat.
And he's pretty critically acclaimed to be a very normal conservative pick. He stands with the right on most issues you'd expect him to. Isn't anyone crazy. Really has been widely touted as President Trump's most, I guess, very generally accepted decision that he's made so far. It's not crazy in any way.
He hedged a little bit on
he did.
Wade.
Yeah, so this is interesting. During the nomination hearings for Judge Gorsuch, he was asked whether or not Roe v. Wade, which is the really widely known Supreme Court case that determined abortion rights in this country and whether or not they would be legal, Neil Gorsuch said pretty explicitly that Roe v. Wade should be considered as any other Supreme Court case.
A precedent.
And thus precedent.
Right. Now, what's interesting is that the Democrats, first of all, that they actually did this. What are the ramifications? What is their strategy going into this? And also...
He's referring to the filibuster.
Right, the filibuster of Gorsuch. And also, what do you think about the Republicans' possible response?
So, Wes brings up really good points, and I guess we kind of started to talk about it earlier, but we're a little bit split. I think that this was actually a really bad move by the Democrats. I don't think filibustering Neil Gorsuch is winning the Democrats a lot of points really anywhere in the country. As you guys may have seen, we talked about this in our general strategy for the future of the Democratic Party video. And I think the Democrats need to choose their battles. Political capital only goes so far. Mm-hmm. And Neil Gorsuch is as good of a conservative pick for the Supreme Court as we're going to get. Like anyone else could have been a lot worse. And there were a lot of worried people who are both on the right and the left that were concerned about what President Trump would just end up doing regarding this empty bench seat. Neil Gorsuch was a gift for them. It was someone that a lot of people were happy about. I don't think Democrats should have been as adamantly opposed to this pick solely because it seems to me like it's a general opposition to anything President Trump puts out there. And we saw in the campaign that general opposition to President Trump is not what America is looking for right now. They're looking for new ideas, a new decision in the future, and a path forward.
Right.
General opposition doesn't equal any of those.
They're really looking for that path forward. Even if you look back at the Tea Party, they definitely had a list of things that they wanted to accomplish revolving around mostly the fiscal situation in the United States government. So they actually have a very specific list of stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, I feel like with the Democrats right now, they really don't have that list. There might be a little bit of a sway, but I can see why they think that this would be a good move. Because if you look at, we've talked about this, you look at state legislatures, you look at their losses in D.C., they're a much smaller party now. They represent, I would say that the group of Americans that they're representing has shrunk and moved to the left. I think that's temporary, but I think the people that they're representing want them to filibuster Neil Gorsuch. I think that the people that they're representing, I think the people that Chuck Schumer represents in New York, for example, want him to do this. Now, I agree with you that this might not be the best political strategy to follow.
I just don't see it winning anything.
I understand why they would do this. I understand why they want to at least protect the seats that they have and make their voters happy with this, I would say, mostly symbolic attack.
It's so completely symbolic because it's really important for everyone to remember that the GOP still controls both branches of the legislative government, right? This is not something, this filibuster cannot, the filibuster is not going to go on forever. Like, it's not going to actually stop Gorsuch from being approved to the bench. But what it does do, and what's really interesting, is that it allows Republicans to have the opportunity to use what's being called the nuclear option.
Right. So that would be a change in the rules of the Senate where you wouldn't be able to filibuster anymore at that with that threshold of votes.
Well, you could still filibuster, but right now the way the Senate works is you need 60 votes to overcome a filibuster. Republicans only have 54 seats in the House. In the Senate. If they change the rules, all you need is a simple majority.
You would be able to filibuster
51.
Supreme Court nominations.
Right. Well, and that's key too, I think, is it only applies to Supreme Court nominations. So there's basically guarantees that President Trump is going to be able to get Gorsuch onto the bench, and Gorsuch is, or whoever the next person is that he nominates, assuming a bench seat opens in the next 3 years.
Very likely will.
It is. The rest of the Supreme Court, the other 8, are all rather old relative to the average age of a Supreme Court justice's retirement.
And I think this would be a catastrophic move.
Oh, awful. I think, we're in agreement on this. I think the political strategy here is really bad for the GOP. They should not use the nuclear option.
I think it could even work to the GOP's favor. They keep putting Gorsuch up, or they keep putting up nominees like Gorsuch, and at some point it's gonna look bad on the Democrats. I think they don't want to get anything done.
I'm a rather independent person myself, and I think it already looks bad. I just don't see
it looks bad to voters that aren't within the Democrats' constituencies.
Yes,
in my opinion,
probably true. I can't speak for that.
But they need to win those voters. They need to win a portion of those voters to come back.
I think that it wouldn't be too tough to explain to those voters. And what I understand is that the Democrats have a lot of very legitimate battles coming up. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have a lot of space to claim that what President Trump is doing or what he's or who he's nominating, these people need to be stopped for democratic values and ideals to really be espoused in the government. I don't think you can do that with Gorsuch. I don't think
the basic fundamentals of the power situation are such that the Republicans won big, so
they
don't have many options.
No, they don't. That's definitely true.
Right, they don't have many options, so they don't have any cards to play. So they're making a very ideological vote, one that's going to assuage the emotions of their base more than it is going to. Well, I take that back a little bit. If they're progressives or they're more to the left, they should be voting for what they think their constituencies want.
I see that too.
You have to at least see that.
I see that. No. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. And I think that's a big question, and there's a conversation for a different time. But there's a big question between: are we a direct democracy, and do you do exactly what the people tell you, or are we a republic in the sense that they've elected individuals, and the individuals have to use?
We're 100% a republic. We elect representatives that use their judgment.
Okay, well then, if you're a representative or a senator using your judgment, I would expect you to have better political strategy and judgment, and realize that this political capital ought to be used down the line.
I agree with your larger point about political capital. I agree with your larger point about this might not be the best strategy. I agree. What is the Democrat strategy right now? What are they trying to do? It's kind of unclear, and they're wasting a little capital on the Gorsuch thing.
Absolutely.
But also, this is early.
It is.
Think about it from their perspective. This is early in the Trump presidency.
And to be fair,
this could be more of a thing you sacrifice now. You communicate with the base now. You get your ideological stuff out of the way now, so you can build your political capital later. That's how Schumer is running it.
And that's true. And to be fair, there are a few key facts that would make my argument weaker, and I think it's important to remember those. First, it's early enough, and we've seen enough scandal and political opposition to President Trump, including the healthcare legislative debacle. That is just debacle. Oh, it was awful, and that's huge, right?
That bill was bad on so many levels.
And I think that the Democrats are potentially very strategically trying to build off of that. And if they gain support from Republicans to not use the nuclear option, which we think is a really bad idea, specifically because if the nuclear option is used now and President Trump even gets Gorsuch in and he gets his next person in, eventually a Democrat's going to hold the executive branch.
Right.
And then the Democrats are going to just pass whoever they want at any time without any issue. It's going to be bad down the line.
It's like President Obama's executive orders regarding a lot of the regulations with the environment. These are things that were not passed through Congress.
No, and President Trump has done whatever he wants to them.
Right, and then he'll go right back.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And this is a terrible way to do business. There has to be more comity, and there has to be a larger and longer vision in the Senate. They have to get along better. They represent states, not districts. All of our states are inherently both Democratic and Republican.
Key.
We need to have the Senate functioning as a senior body within the United States government.
Now, say the Democrats find a way to ensure that, more movement conservatives or moderates who are understanding what Wes and I are describing here and understand John McCain, for example, who came out today and said he was against the nuclear option. He is a moderate.
Romney Republican.
Absolutely. And say they grab these Romney Republicans and they build a coalition behind McCain and they use them to ensure that the filibuster goes through and the nuclear option isn't used. That's two massive blows to President Trump's legislative agenda back to back. That's huge.
You could also see
that's huge.
Freedom Caucus and traditional movement conservatives.
Yeah, the Freedom Caucus.
They might not want to see the nuclear option being invoked.
They're probably not feeling pretty good about President Trump right now.
Right. Especially after that healthcare bill debacle.
Right, where he blamed the Freedom Caucus for it and directly called out names, including people like Representative Justin Amash of Michigan, who's just a very, very solid representative for the Freedom Caucus. Like liberals and absolutely liberals and conservatives both agree that Justin Amash is a man who sticks to his ideologies, his principles, and is a good man.
Even regardless of being a good man, I don't think there's a good tactical move.
Right, he's politically pretty secure. I don't know what President Trump is going to do to really take him out of power.
Amash has already taken down moderate challengers.
So that was a weird one. So the Freedom Caucus isn't feeling great. Democrats are obviously filibustering. McCain's got the Romney Republicans potentially, a coalition right there to stop the nuclear option from being taken. If that's true, a filibuster stands. Gorsuch is not actually approved to go onto the bench. That's a massive win for Democrats.
Right. Potentially. We'll see what happens.
We'll find out. As always, thanks for watching. This is The Wise Guys, and feel free to connect with us if you have any questions, comments, or concerns.